What's the most entitled demand a client has ever made of you? I work as an engineer, and every now and then I take on some consulting projects on the side. It's not something I need to do for money, but I'll do it as a favor if a friend asks. I keep my regular job as my priority, so these side projects only ever happen when I actually want to help out. One day, a good friend reached out and asked if I'd be willing to help his in-laws. They had bought an old house and were planning major renovations and additions. The only reason I agreed was because of my friend. Normally, I would never touch a project like this. The house was ancient, the scope was huge, and the kind of work they wanted done screamed can of worms. But I trusted my friend, and he asked nicely, so I said yes. He gave me a heads up about his mother-in-law, warning me that she could be a little difficult. That was a generous understatement. From the very first emails, it was clear she thought I was beneath her. She talked to me like I was some kind of servant. I was charging them maybe a tenth of what a proper firm would cost, but she acted like I owed her my time, my patience, and my weekends on demand. At first, it was tolerable. She was rude, especially when I pointed out flaws in their plans, but I let it slide. I've dealt with difficult personalities before, but things changed when I tried scheduling a visit to inspect the property. I needed to see certain areas in person to confirm details before moving forward. I offered weekends. She said no. I suggested evenings after work. Still no. Her demand was that I show up during my office hours, in the middle of my workday, because that was what worked for her. I told her plainly, if she wanted my help, it had to be on weekends or evenings. That's when she completely lost it. Her emails went from sharp to downright hostile. She told me that since she was paying me, I needed to work around her schedule, not the other way around. She acted like the few dollars I was charging meant she owned me. That was enough. I added my friend to the email chain, told them I was out, and wished them luck finding someone else. My friend apologized, but I assured him it wasn't a big deal. I didn't need this stress, and it wasn't worth the headache. Not surprisingly, the mother-in-law was shocked. She sent another email, stunned that I was walking away. She scolded me, saying that's not how business is conducted. I didn't even reply. I don't need lectures from someone who has no idea how things actually work. About 3 weeks later, her husband reached out. His tone was completely different. He begged me to reconsider, promising that his wife would stay out of the process entirely. He even said she wouldn't speak to me again if that's what it took. Turns out reality had hit them like a ton of bricks. They'd gone out to proper firms, and while they were willing to pay the higher prices, the timelines were brutal. It was peak season for the industry, and every reputable company was drowning in work. Nobody was eager to jump at an old, messy house project. The wait times were weeks, even months, and without finalized designs, their trades couldn't move forward. They were stuck, and all because of her behavior. And you know what? I still said no. Even if the husband swore up and down that she wouldn't interfere, I didn't buy it. I'd already seen what she was like. People like that don't suddenly change. The moment she got impatient or annoyed, she'd be right back in my inbox, treating me like garbage. I wasn't about to bail her out. My friend later told me he actually enjoyed watching the whole thing blow up in her face. She'd spent years treating people around her like dirt, and for once her attitude came with real consequences. Not just social consequences, but financial ones too. They lost time, money, and the smooth timeline they were so desperate for. For me, it was simple. I didn't need the money. I didn't need the stress. And no amount of begging was going to make me work for someone who couldn't treat me with basic respect. Professionals don't have to put up with abuse, no matter how entitled a client thinks they are. Sometimes the best move is to walk away, and that's exactly what I did.